everyone. Noah Bass here. I'm here to talk to you today about ways in which you can enhance your own model logic. A lot of this is going to be client specific, so you may have to review with your partner sort of some of the specifics that apply to your model. But there's a couple different things that we can think about here. One of them is that you could add a new measure to your model, something we often call crediting. Another one would be you could add a new payout type to your model. And the idea is you want to figure out a way to do it so that it flows through the rest of your model and can be used in reporting and any kind of aggregate logic. So in the model that I have here, our little demo model, I'm just going to create a very basic type of payout and show you how within the architecture of this model, it's very easy to flow it through. So once we've created this payout, it'll flow through to the compensation summary, it'll flow through to the payroll export and any other relevant reports. So let's say I add a table, okay? And this new type of payout that I'm going to create is just going to be for a simple bonus. So I'm just going to create a custom table and I'll just call this my SP payee bonus table. Okay. For the sake of this demo, we'll make it nice and simple. It's just going to have a payee ID. All right. We'll pick list that to the payee table. We're going to have a component so we can give the type of bonus a name. So this will be our component. And we'll pick list that to our component table, which is actually in this model called syscomponent, a very common name for the table. And then we'll have a payout date. Okay, and we'll make that a date field. All right, we have other lessons on how to set your primary keys in the model, but this should be pretty good for now. We want all three of these columns to be part of our primary key. All right, so now we have our nice and simple bonus table. We're going to create a calculation off of that. Now, before I go and create the calculation, let's see where I'm going to join this into this model so it does flow through to all the various endpoints. So we can see that there's actually a bottleneck in this model. That would be this calculation here, where all of the payout calcs feed into this particular calculation here. So what we want to know is what is the structure of those calculations so that we too can add our calculation to it and see what our calculation needs to have in order to properly flow through. So it needs these columns: payee, comp plan, attribute, period, and value. Now in this model, in order to create a calculation that has all that and that uses my new payee bonus table, I'm just going to call this one our payee bonus. I'm going to bring in my payee bonus table. Okay, we can see it's right there. Now I'm also going to bring in the effective payee table because I know I need to get comp plan. And lastly, I'm going to bring in my attributes table. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say for this payee, as of the time when this bonus is paid, I want to know what his plan was. So I'm joining the effective dates in the effective payee table to the actual payout date to get the plan that it corresponds to, because I need to partition my results by that data. And for the attribute, I know I'm going to get the component directly from the payee bonus table. And I know that right now I'm calculating just what we call a periodic amount, which is another way of saying a monthly amount. And I know I'm calculating a payout. That's my numeric type. So that allows me to identify which attribute I need. So now I can partition this by all the columns that the next source is expecting, which, as you may recall, was payee, comp plan, attribute, and then of course the value itself. So we made, I actually forgot to include a value. So let's just, for the sake of this argument, put a value of 1,000. Everybody in this table gets 1,000. Very poor example. You'd want to put that amount in the actual table itself. But for the sake of simplicity, we're just going to give everyone $1,000. So let's go ahead and create that. Okay, so here's the calculation. Now I want to bring it in over here where we said we were going to try to bring it in. So I'll simply load in my new source and then I will union it in with these. It asks me how I want to match everything up. Notice how it doesn't match up to period. Well, that just means I forgot to include a partition in my calculation. No problem. I'm just going to exit this And I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to correct my mistake of not having the value in the table. And I'm just going to put the value in the table right now. I can do that because it's not part of the primary key. And then at the same time, I'm going to also make sure I partition by the period. So I'm going to bring up the payout date. I'm going to say I want this to be by periods. And I'm going to change my formula to be the sum of the new numeric column that I should have had all along, which is this bonus amount. Now I should have everything I need. It's always good to mess up in a demo so that you can understand some of the mistakes that you might make as well and how to fix them. Now we'll try again to bring in my payee bonus table. And now all the columns do match up, which is great. All I have to do is click finish. And voila, that's all I need. Now this, because of the way this model was designed, those calculations, those payout calculations, anything I enter into that table will flow through to the compensation summary, to the manager summary, and to the payroll export. You may want to augment the reports from there, maybe add some detail to your compensation details that wouldn't have applied to some of the other payout components you have. But essentially, that's all that it takes. Thanks everyone for listening.